Growing up, one of the games that I thoroughly enjoyed playing was the Max Payne series. From the first one all the way even to the third one by Rockstar, I was a huge fan. The one, however, that holds a special place in my heart as being, to me, a legitimate game changer and changed the way I saw action shooters was Max Payne 2. And that game, when it came out, to me was just special. The visuals, the way it controlled, the physics in it were different than anything else that was out at the time. And for me, that game is one that I repeatedly play throughout the years. And with the recent announcement that Remedy is going to be remaking the first two titles in this series, I'm completely excited because I think that there's going to be some awesome changes and some really cool quality of life features that are going to be added that I'm going to go over in just a moment. Let's take a look. I remember back when Max Payne 2 came out, I had a Radeon 9700 playing it at the time, as I understand, the best possible graphics you could play it in. And I remember thinking to myself, these visuals were unmatched. There was no games that looked like this at that time. And I remember just even in the hospital scene of the game, when you shoot the first enemy, wake it up from your coma, you watch them go into the pill cabinet or the medical tray and it kind of scatters everywhere, and being blown away by the physics in this game. And of course, this game's pretty old now, and if you go throughout all the years that it's been out, it's starting to look pretty outdated. And one of the things, however, that I've realized is Remedy has always been at the forefront of visuals. Even when it comes to some of their more recent releases like Alan Wake 2, even playing through Control recently, Remedy's done a phenomenal job of upping the visual fidelity of modern games and leading the pack in a lot of ways. And so when it comes to them having direct control over remaking Max Payne 2, I'm incredibly excited because I'm confident Remedy's going to do not just a good job of making it look better, but making the world feel even better than it already did in Max Payne 2 and Max Payne 1. And another thing that I think that Remedy is also going to really be able to do with some of the newer technology is iron out some of the animations and make the world feel more fluid like they've done in their recent releases. And what I mean is Max Payne 2 for the time was a very different feeling game, and the movement of Max itself, you felt like you were in a John Woo type film with the way he moved and the cool moves he did when he reloaded and all those sorts of things. And at that time it looked great, but it's starting to look a little stiff, and I've been recently playing through Max Payne 2 again, and you can definitely tell the age of the movement, and it's not really what a AAA game would look like in today's standards. And so I'm excited to see what Remedy does to make those movements look a lot more fluid and realistic with modern graphics and modern technologies. I'm also interested to see how they handle some of the faces and characters. I'm wondering if they're going to use the same models that they use from Max Payne 2, or if they're going to reinvent those characters entirely and use different actors completely. Another thing that I'm also interested to see is how they're going to handle some of the comic book elements, because to me, that was part of what made Max Payne 1 and 2 seem so different from a lot of the games out at that time. It felt like you were lifted right out of a noir graphic novel and playing in that world. And I'm wondering how they're going to integrate that, or if they're going to simply use the older comic book visuals that they had and just update the graphics to it, or if they're going to do something different, or maybe get rid of those entirely and put cutscenes in place. I'm hoping that they don't. I think Remedy, of most developers, has a really good sensibility of their game worlds and has a really good sensibility of their games' narratives and their games' arcs, and I think that they'll do whatever they decide to do, it's going to be done tastefully, is what I'm trying to get at. And so I'm curious how they're going to change that. There's not a ton of details at this moment about the remakes, but from what I'm going to assume, I think a lot of the core levels and areas are probably going to remain the same, but Remedy's going to give it a much needed upgrade in terms of visuals. And that, for me, is enough as far as Max Payne goes and as far as Max Payne 2 goes. I think that those games, to me, are some of the best examples of third-person action shooters, and in a lot of ways, they're pioneers in the whole slow-mo, bullet-time genre of shooters, and I think that there's nobody who does it better than Remedy. And so it's awesome to see them taking this IP and modernizing it for today's consoles, and I'm really excited to see what ends up occurring with this series moving forward.